Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, happy Tuesday. We're just going to wait for a few more people to join, and Marilyn is also joining as she will be the host today. So just hang tight.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Adona, I have access to share, right? Let me see.
Marnelli, can you please make her the host because I'm still driving?
Yes, I already.
Okay, it's not letting me share though.
I
Let me
already
just
make you the
sure.
host,
Okay.
Marilyn.
Mm-hmm. 9:31. Okay, we're gonna get started because we only have a half an hour. Guys, you can all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Because I am not the best at this, but this is what I want you to all see. Can everybody see this? The Telephone Consumer Protection Act?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. Adona asked me to go over this. This is the new Telephone Consumer Protection Act, which came in effect January 27th. I went over this in my offices with my agents. You know, at first it sounds crazy, like here they go again. What are they going to do to us next? But honestly, it's just another set of rules for us to follow. We must follow them. But there's still ways for us to continue working. The biggest thing that I see with this right now is the auto dialers. You know, they really don't want us to be using the auto dialers. However, we can, a lot of the auto dialer companies, look, they're not going to go out of business. So they are adjusting to the new rules also. I think the big thing here is they can't drop the messages. So I have everything written down here so we can go over it and you could understand it. If you have any questions, please ask. So this came, the telephone TCPA, that's what you're going to see all the time, started January 27th. Okay. So it's the 1-to-1 consent rule. What this means, if you want to call someone, text or drop a pre-recorded message using an auto dialer, you got to get specific consent from that person for your business only. Before you could get a list of leads with blanket permissions like, sure, anyone can call me. Not anymore. Each person has to give their okay just for you, no shortcuts. Okay? So we need specific consent to call anyone. The consent revocation made easy. What it means, if someone doesn't want to hear from you anymore, they can just say stop, however they want. Whether it's a text, whether it's an email, whether it's a smoke signal, whatever. And you have to honor it within 10 business days. You know, in the past, I mean, I remember going back years when the DNC first came out, we were like, oh my God, how are we going to make our phone calls? What are we going to do if we can't call all these people on the list? Over the years, it kind of slacked off, I think. What happened with that was a lot of people didn't realize they had to keep re-registering for it. And I think it got a little lenient and we could get away with maybe calling someone and they would say, I'm on the do not call list. And you could just apologize and say, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see your name there, whatever. And it wouldn't be a really big deal. Well, that's changed because now it will be a big deal. Okay. So someone says, stop, take them off your list. Do not call them. Do not reach out to them. Okay, in the past, like I said, you may have been able to say, oh, I didn't see that. And we got away with it. They're getting really tough on it now. Okay. Stay on top of your revocations that people send you or you're going to be paying big fines. Okay, because they're going to be fining us. Does anybody have any questions so far? No,
Yes,
all
I
good?
have a question.
Yes, honey, I can't hear. Speak up a little.
Oh, yes, yes. Is it better? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it this rule? As far as I know, has it been delayed to 1 year later, like a 2026?
No, to the best of my knowledge, this came in effect January 27th,
No,
2025.
they said, yeah, from now I
Well-
attended a webinar. They said that they delayed it to January 26, 2026.
They delayed it for a year?
Yes,
They just delayed it? And
yes.
when did you attend that webinar? When did you hear that?
Last week. That was last week.
Okay, you know what? I will check into it. I have not heard anything on that. To the best of my knowledge, they told me January 27th.
They
But I
delayed
will-
it.
I will check in.
I'm pretty sure they delayed it 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't doubt what you say. I just didn't hear about it yet. Okay, but let's
Okay,
still
all
go
right.
over because this is what the rules are going to be. This is
Marilyn,
what the
Okay.
rules are going to be.
I have a
Yes.
question. For the
Sure.
one-on-one consent, that's only if it's being using auto dialers, is that correct?
No, actually with calling also.
Oh,
Even if you're going to do manual calling, but there
Yeah.
are ways we're going to, that we can still work around this, and I'll show you.
got it. Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, the auto dialers are really going to be tough. However, like I said, these companies, Mojo, I know Redx is already conforming. Redx is already adjusted. I think Vulcan, Mojo, I don't know yet, but I don't think these companies are going to go out of business, so they will adjust. And mostly they need to drop their auto messages. Okay, no more messages. So, and a lot of agents said they've been stopped leaving the messages, and some of them don't use it. So, the tighter rules on lead generation. Okay, so a lot of us buy leads, right? And just because you buy the leads, don't assume that they're cool with you calling or texting them. They have to have said yes specifically to your business. Okay, before you bought leads from companies and it was generic. Okay, interested people lists. You buy all these lists and stuff, and you were able to call them. Now it's not. If you didn't agree to contacting them directly, you cannot call them. So there's going to have to be changes with those lists and those leads that you're buying also. Okay. And maybe like you just said a little while ago, that they are moving it. I don't know why they're moving it for a year. I'm not complaining about it, but because they have to give all these companies must have really made a holler. They got to give them a chance maybe to adjust to all of this. You can't just put all these people out of business. Now, rules on automated calls and pre-recorded messages. This is where the big thing is. Auto dialers, what it means is auto dialers and pre-recorded voicemails are basically off limits unless you've got written consent. Now, when we say written consent, someone can send you a text, someone can send you an email saying you can be in touch with them. One thing I told my offices and my agents was, one thing if you do mailings, when you do mailings, and make sure you have the barcode that they could scan on all your pieces that go out, okay? Once they scan that, that's giving you permission to reach out to them. So whether you're doing a letter, whether you're doing postcards, make sure you have your little barcodes there that they can scan, because if anybody scans that automatically gives you permission, okay, to call them. So that's one way I would be doing my mailings and make sure that's on all of them. Manual dialing is safer now, unless you have legal permissions squared away. So when we say manual dialing, because you can still, they're not telling you cannot call a FSBO, you cannot call an expired, you can call a neighborhood, you can still call farming neighborhoods, but don't solicit. Do not call them asking them to sell their house. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So the do not call list compliance, that's been around for a long time, got a little lackadaisy, but they're going to get tougher on it. What it means is if someone's on the do not call list, just don't call them. like just don't. Exceptions only apply if you have a prior business relationship with them or specific consent. Okay. Before it was the same rules, but it wasn't being, it kind of really stopped getting so enforced. Now they're getting really tighter on it. And fines are from 500 to 1,500 per call if you don't comply. And you don't want to start getting those kind of fines. Okay, they plan on being really strict with it. Okay, what about emails? So up to now, this does not touch emails, so you're good there. But don't forget, you do still have canned spam laws, which still apply to keep your email game in check. Okay, so here's some scenarios. FSBO calls. Manual dialing is fine if they're not on the do not call list. If they are on the do not call list, on a FSBO, you can still call them, okay? Okay, regardless of what information's out there, you can still call them as long as you are not soliciting for the listing. Now, they're a FSBO. They put their number out there. They put their house out there for sale. You can call a FSBO, even on the do not call list, just to say you want to see the house, or you're calling for a buyer that hired you. With that, you can call them. When it comes to using a speed dialer, again, you would need this written consent, even on a FSBO. But if a FSBO's out there, you can call them and say, I would like to come see the house. I have a client, as long as you're not asking for the listing. You're not soliciting them. Same thing's going with it expired. You still can call expired, even if they're on the do not call list. Because even though they're expired, but they had put their number in their house out there. Okay, you're okay to call them manually and play it just like a FSBO. You would like to come see their house. You have someone who's a buyer that has hired you, that's interested in their house. You're just not soliciting them for the listing. Okay, and cold calling to neighborhoods. You can cold call neighborhoods. Stick to manual dialing. Okay, and when you're doing the cold calling, don't hit up anybody on the do not call list. You need permission. Now you can cold call neighborhoods. You can be calling neighborhoods because a listing just came on the market 3 blocks away from them. And you're just calling them to give them information on it. You're not calling them to ask them to sell their house or list it with you. You're calling, giving them information. Okay, so that's still all good. Any questions so far? Okay, we're all good? Okay.
I have a question actually.
Go
When
ahead.
you say maybe I missed something. When you
Okay.
say manual dialing, as long as we don't use those, triple dialer, can
Right.
we use those, dialing system that they dial? I mean, for us, or we have to press the keypad for
Well,
the definition of manual dialing.
manual dialing is pressing the keypad, making those phone calls yourself again. Because the auto dialer is going to go three phone calls at a time, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's going to call 3 people at a time. That's what we cannot be doing because we don't have the consent.
No, not
They're saying
the
right now,
triple
the
dialer.
safest way.
Not those triple dialer. What
No,
I
you said
mean
not
by no, not calling several people at the same time. What I'm
So
asking
doing
is,
one call at a time? Yeah,
yes,
one
that
call at a time.
okay.
Yeah.
That refers
You
to
can
the manual dialer.
use it for one call at a time, right? This way you're not punching the numbers in yourself. But make sure that auto dialer that you're using, if somebody doesn't answer, does not drop a message. Now there's what you can do that on your auto dialer. Make sure they don't drop a message. I think, like I said, to my understanding, RedX is already in compliance. If anybody uses RedX and they're not dropping a message, I think Vulcan, we'll find out whoever you're using. I know a lot of my agents use Mojo. I don't know if Mojo's in compliance yet. I'm sure they all will be. Okay. And yes, if you're doing one call at a time, you just want to play it safe because you don't want to do 3 calls at a time and then it just automatically drops a message. At this point, I think coming soon, all of them will not be dropping messages anymore because they can't. Okay, so if you're still using it, do it one call at a time. And again, watch who you're calling. If it's a FSBO, if it's expired, yes, you can continue to call them, but do not solicit them for a listing. Okay, call them with other information, telling them you would want to go see the house. Okay, and that's, I think a lot of us have, that's how we've done it in the past. You know, I mean, I have never just called up a FSBO and said, hi, I would like to come over and list your house, or would you like to list your house with me? No, you kind of make a conversation that you want to go over there and see it. You may have an interested buyer. And then once you get your foot in the door, you have to connect with them, right? That's the best way to work on FSBOs and expireds, especially expireds. You got all those angry sellers who didn't sell their house. So yeah, so like I said, I really believe all of these auto dialing companies are going to adjust to what they have to adjust to. We're going to find, I'm going to find out when I get off of this Zoom if they've put it off for a year, which would be wonderful if they do that. But I didn't see anything about it. But if you're telling me that you saw that NAR announced that, I'm going to say it's probably true. So I'll check into it. Okay, so on these closing thoughts, the new TCPA rules, look, they're going to feel like a headache, like everything else has in the past year and a half. They just keep beating us up, us real estate agents, but we adjust. We always adjust and we always come out on top. Okay, they're here to protect the consumers and honestly to keep business honest. For real estate agents, this just means being extra careful with how you gather your leads. Okay, contacting your potential clients and managing consent. Okay, you play it safe by sticking to manual calls unless you've got that golden written consent from people. And always, always keep an eye on who's on that do not call list. The do not call list has gotten smaller, but there's still a lot of numbers that aren't on there. Okay. And again, like I said, in the past, when the do not call list first came out, I remember it was like such a headache and we couldn't call anyone. But what the consumers didn't realize was they had to register every year over and over, and they didn't do it. So it was more and more numbers on the list. But we did. We still called, and and people say, I'm sorry, I didn't see your name on the list, and got away with it. They're not going to let you get away with it anymore. Okay, so, and if people, well, it really just takes one person to complain. Okay, compliance takes a little bit more effort, but it's better than facing steep fines or worse, losing your reputation. So we just have to start adjusting our, even if it's put off for a year, we should start adjusting our practices now. Okay, and you'll stay in compliance, and you'll also be a professional who respects their clients' boundaries. Okay, so there's going to be probably a lot more stuff coming out on this. I think we're going to constantly be seeing changes in 2025, little things here and little things there, and we just have to be compliant with it. It's very important for us to follow the rules because they're going to be very tough on us. But all these rules are not putting us out of business. Let me get back here. They're not going to put any of us out of business. Okay, we just have to follow the rules. We can still make the calls. We just have to do it the way they say. Yes, Bobby, I see your hand raised.
Yes, thanks, Marilyn. Just the one thing I'd like to throw out there, and this has been my experience with making these calls, and I'm going to be honest, I don't do a whole lot of this auto dialer stuff. But if you make a mistake, and I agree with everything that you're saying, I'm not disagreeing in any way,
Yeah.
but I also want to just let people know, don't panic. Because if you make a mistake, if you make another mistake, it's an honest mistake. Generally, people are just going to hang up the phone and they're going to go on with their day. Very rarely, and it'll happen, but very rarely, someone has nothing else to do but to complain. So if you make a mistake and you say, I'm sorry, people are going to go, all right, don't do it again. And then you're going to go your way and they're going to go their way. The chances of someone actually filing a complaint against you, which you definitely have to be concerned with, but the chances of that happening, in my opinion, are minimal.
Agreed. I agree with you. And that's how it's been for years, right? Because we've had do not call for a long time. And that's how it's been. But they're claiming they're going to come down on us harder now. with bigger fines. And again, it's just going to take that one person. Most people are nice. Most people are very nice. Most people. But you just need to get one person who's not, and they're going to report you. And that's how it's always been. The big change I see here right now is going to be with the auto dialers. I think that's what they're really, and again, I don't know how they're going to keep track of that, with the auto dialers calling and dropping messages, again, unless someone complains.
And Marilyn, I just
Yes.
checked now while you were doing the
Yes.
presentation. There has not been a change. It is in effect as of January 27, 2025, not 26.
Okay.
Just remember, guys, if you're going on different webinars, not everyone's going to give you the right information. So if you're not going to hear from us, that means that it's probably another broker or a lender or an attorney who's giving you information, and they're throwing out so many dates. Just always check with your manager. But Marilyn, you're correct. It is this year. There's
Thank
not.
you. Because I was like, wow, why would they made such a big deal out of it. Now they're going to put it off for a year. I thought maybe all the auto dialers were going to put a lawsuit together or something. Yeah, I know it was January 27. And look, if they do delay, say in the future, they delay it for 2 months or whatever, let's get into the practice of doing it now. Let's start doing it, practice doing it now. Like I said, whatever auto dialer you might be using, they're going to find a way to be compliant with these rules. So you can talk to whoever you have, because they're not going to go out of business. And it's for your own benefit. We just have to follow the rules. You have to follow the rules, and you could still be in business. It's not putting you out of business. Does anybody else have questions, or do most of you use, I wasn't big on the auto dialers. I would always manually call people. And you can still do that. You see a FSBO, you don't drive by a FSBO without calling it, right? Or running up to the door and putting your card there, expired. You just call them. There's not like 500 expireds a month. Not right now in this market, that's for sure. So just pick up the phone and call. Just do not ask them for the listing. Do not solicit them, and you're safe. Anybody have any other questions? Well, as I get more information on it, I'll let Adona know, and we will pass it on to you guys. Okay, and thank you, Adona, because I didn't think it was you. I can't hear you, honey. You're on mute.
Sorry. Yes, thank you
That's
so much, Marilyn. This was really helpful, and it's really important to stay informed just in case you missed an office meeting or the
Yes.
email from us. It's important just to stay up to date. You want to be ahead of the game. I know Bobby said that, the likelihood of somebody filing a complaint, probably none, but the fact that they did put a fine into this, I am sure they're going to be very strict. Because I think what's happening is that, let's say you have them on an email campaign, you're sending them text or sending them phone calls, and if they tell you to stop and you don't stop, they're going to have proof that you did not stop. And it's every call and every text and email, correct, Marilyn? That
Yes.
they go.
Yes.
So one person, if you reached out to them through text, call, and email, there's 3 fines right there. So I think they're going to try and make an example.
And they'll probably start, right. They'll probably start at 5. Yeah. And if you're a repeat offender, you're going to start seeing 1,500 per call or text. Yeah. They're going to be hefty fines, but that's what they love to do to us, fine us. So, I mean, we work hard. And I wouldn't want to have to pay all these fines after working hard to make a sale or whatever we're doing. So if we just have to be compliant, it's not putting us out of business. COVID didn't put us out of business. The lawsuit didn't put us out of business. And this is not putting us out. We just have to keep readjusting to doing things differently. And it'll be a great year again. How are these leads? Gail, would you say, how are these leads verified prior to us receiving them?
Well, Marilyn,
gonna-
I answer that.
Yeah.
If you are getting a lead before that individual said contact the realtor about a property, that's their consent for somebody to reach out to them. So you're fine with that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I received one yesterday, but it kind of seemed a little shady to me.
If they're telling you reach out to me through WhatsApp, 99% it's probably going to be a scam,
Oh,
especially.
definitely a scam. Yeah, I got one the other day with WhatsApp, and I immediately put it into junk. I don't use WhatsApp, and I know there's a lot of scammers on it.
Yes.
We also received that other leader donor that I sent you that seemed very convoluted. So we're looking into that. That
Yes.
came from Remax LLC. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
It was
a
a
lot.
lead that came from Remax. Yeah. There's a lot of scammers out there.
Yes.
Mhm.
So thank you so much, Marilyn. I really appreciate your time.
You're very
Just so you
welcome.
know, if you're not staying for Tech Tuesday with Tyler, that's starting in a few minutes. Next week, very, very important. Fran Blakely is going to do rental compliance. You guys need to join. If you have not taken a rental compliance with us, a training, I highly recommend that you guys join next Tuesday, 9:30. So please, we'll send out more information, but it's so important for you guys to join those Tuesday masterminds. We're always keeping you guys informed. Our leadership is taking the time to do the research for all of us. So please make sure that you join next week. Tyler, you're in the house.
I am, yes. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm gonna make you a host.
Fantastic. Now, I think I'm going to wait until the top of the hour before I dive in so that nobody misses out for being on time, you know? So I'll probably just kind of go radio silent for a minute here.
I'm just going to mute everyone, please. And then if you need to speak, just unmute yourself. Just so that.
But our mission is to honor and serve patriots.
Yeah, I'm looking at the previous information about.
Sorry, can you please unmute yourself? I accidentally muted everyone.
No problem, no problem. Yeah, I just revisit the information about the postpone. It may be the reviewing. I don't know the terminology. They definitely have some FCC. I can send you the screenshot about that. It may not be referring to their effective, the calling effective, or maybe the review, that kind of things. But I would definitely send to the screenshot. Something has been deleted, but have to be clarified.
Okay. Yeah, definitely send it to me and then I will take a look. But I was just on the NAR website and there's nothing else besides the January 27, 2025. All right, are you guys all ready for week 2 on KB Core?
I am.
Great. I know you're ready. I'm ready. It's going to be a good one. And it's a lot of times it's questions that you guys ask us. So Tyler, thank you so much for taking the time. And this is your second round and we really appreciate your time. So
Hey.
I am pass it to you. I think I'm just going to make you a full host. Just make sure you hear background noise just to mute everyone.
Do that.
You are officially a host.
Perfect. I appreciate it very much. Well, thank you for the opportunity to continue on with these classes. I'm glad the agents are finding some value to it. I've been talking to a bunch of them offline, one-on-ones and answering questions and doing the best I can to help. So that opportunity is still open to everyone on the call and anybody watching the video after the fact. I don't hide well. I don't try to hide. If anybody has a question or wants to set up a time to do some one-on-one training or tutorials, that's something I actually enjoy doing, and I'm happy to provide that service to all of you. So just a couple things here for those of you that have been on these sessions in the past. you know, I always try to give you the basic information you're going to need to get into the system and also get some help. So what I've done is in the chat log, I've put in my contact information along with my calendar, my online calendar. So if somebody wants to schedule a half an hour with me where we know we're both going to be available, you can use that TidyCal link to actually set a time to talk with me, or you can call, text me anytime, and I will certainly do my best to take the call or at least follow up with you as quickly as I can. And then down below that is the link to product support. These are the people behind the scenes at Remax supporting the system. They're the ones that are going to be fixing things that aren't working. I'm not an employee of Remax. I've never been an employee of LLC. I don't have access to all the administrative tools that they have. I'm a manager based out of Scottsdale, Arizona. So if something is just flat out not working, like your listings aren't syncing up and things like that, you may just want to reach out directly to product support and have them help you with that service or that issue. Obviously, you can contact me, and if I know that it's an issue that is outside of my scope of knowledge or abilities due to restrictions within the system, I will let you know, and we can get you steered in the right direction so you can get help with that. So let's see, I am monitoring the chat the best I can here. I noticed that somebody has already asked if there's an iPhone app. Yeah, there's an app for the iPhone and Android, and I'll show that to you as soon as we get into the platform here. So and then last thing here is, so I'm going to put two links in here. One is a Remax URL shortened link, and I'll talk about the URL shortener maybe a little bit today and in follow-up meetings. The session that I recorded last week, or that I presented last week, on the basics of Bold Trail, like how to download the app, how to make sure your account is set up correctly. Those videos are now going to be posted in this link here. I tried posting the video to YouTube last week and it got flagged. I appealed it. I did everything I could to get it on YouTube, but their AI, whatever you want to call it, said it had content in there that they disallowed. So it made absolutely zero sense to me, but I don't know anybody at YouTube that could fix that problem. So, but what I did just do is, let's see, that Dropbox link and the other link I just posted are basically the same thing. There is a YouTube link that I just put in the chat. This is for the previous 6-week session that I wrapped up a couple weeks ago. All those videos were able to be uploaded. They are all there. I mean, the content is pretty much the same. So if you want to just go through the past 6 weeks, you can actually go to that YouTube playlist and download and watch at your own leisure through that link. So let's see. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen. And Alina, I'm not going to forget about you. I will get to the iPhone app, and I'll just kind of give you the basics, since we've already covered that in previous sessions, and I want to make sure we get through all of the touch points for today. So if there's further questions, we can ask them as we are going through the session, and I will do my best to answer them. And then, as I said, you can contact me after the fact, and I'll be happy to talk, you know, whenever that might be. So you should be able to see my screen here. I am in the Remax.net system, also known as Mac Center. As I've said in the past, if you don't know what your Remax.net email address or password is, you will need to either contact your support staff or contact customer support at Remax. The staff at your office does not have access to your passwords. They should be able to find your Remax.net email address, but there's a chance that may not happen. So if nothing else, click on this forgot username or password link kind of in the middle here underneath the sign in button, and you should be able to retrieve your username, reset your password so you have access to the system. So click sign in to get in, and assuming internet issues are not prevalent, we're good. All right, so what you're looking for is the Platform Max Tech powered by Bold Trail tile. If you don't see it, click on Apps and Tools over here on the left-hand side, and then scroll down to wherever it might be on your screen for the Platform Max Tech powered by Bold Trail Tile. You can click on the tassel to make it appear towards the top, so you don't have to keep scrolling through to find them as you're trying to get into the platform. Okay, let's see. Click on platform powered by MaxTech. So today what we're going to be talking about is automated follow-up. Now, this is probably the more complicated features of the Bold Trail system, formerly known as KV Core. So for those of you that are attending this session for the first time, if you've heard the word KV Core and now you're hearing Bold Trail and wondering what's going on, they're the same exact thing. The developer of the technology just rebranded it from KV Core to Bold Trail through some color and different skins on the system, but really it's all the same. So KV Core, Bold Trail, same thing. Don't let that confuse you or stop you from using the system or getting lost. So on the mobile app, for anybody that hasn't downloaded the mobile app, this is by far and away the best way to download the mobile app onto your phone. You click on download mobile app, and then over on the left-hand side, you will see you can download the MaxTech CRM mobile app. And then if you're an iPhone user or an Android user, you have instructions here. And then if you want to utilize the Open House app, which is something we'll talk about in a future session, you can download that app within the same page here. So personally, I like the Text Me iOS link or Text Me Android link, and that is how I think you should get the app on your phone, because if you just go into the iTunes Store or Google Play and you type in Bold Trail or KV Core, you're going to see multiple options, and it is not obvious which one to put on your phone, and then you're going to be stuck trying to figure out something that you're not going to be able to work or make work. So follow my lead here. Click on the download mobile app tile here within the dashboard of Bold Trail or MaxTech, same thing, and you'll be good to go. All right. So last week we talked about setting up contacts, setting up your account. I'm going to say it again because this is where it's really going to become helpful, is set yourself up or someone close to you, set them up as a test contact. That way you can get in and kind of play with the system, test it out, see what the reports look like, see what the emails look like, see what the text messages look like, so that you know what you're putting out to your clients, prospects, leads, whatever you want to call them. And if you do that, I think you'll get a much better understanding of the system. And again, you're just verifying that what you're sending out looks the way you want it to. You have a lot of ways to personalize and customize the communication and the reports and things like that that go out. So take a minute, set them up correctly the way you want them, and then going forward, you don't have to mess with it. So put in a little bit of effort on the front end, and it'll pay dividends as you are utilizing the system for your communication. So what I've done is I've got a couple test contacts that I've put in here. Make sure you plug in a valid phone number if you're going to test out the texting feature. Obviously, make sure you've got a real email address. And if you don't have a secondary email address, you can get one through like Hotmail, Yahoo, Gmail. You can have multiple as well. But that is what I would recommend if you really want to get a feel for the platform, or if you've got a friend, spouse, family member, partner, whatever, set them up and then just say, hey, I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff, and if you would, forward it to me or show it to me when you can. And that way you can make sure you see what is going out. So communicating with the contact within the platform is actually quite simple. So go to the contacts. So we're going to work in the contact side of things right over here on the left-hand side. Click on the contact that you want to communicate with. I'm going to click my kind of test dummy account over here. And then over on the right-hand side is where you can perform some actions. You can add a note, you can send an email, you can send a text. So let's say we want to send this person an email. So now you can add an MLS ID number. So if you want to actually send them a specific listing, you would need to have the MLS ID number. You just click in there and then start typing in the MLS ID number or the address. And so here's some of the properties that we have in Arizona. I can type in a subject line, and it's going to pre-populate some verbiage in here as well. Now, what I think is actually pretty cool is this Smart Assistant button over here. So I'm going to click on use Smart Assistant, and because we've plugged in an MLS ID number, I'm going to utilize the promote a listing. So what this Smart Assistant is it's I don't know what service they're actually embedding into the platform, but let's just assume it's something, it's either Chat GPT or something like that, where you can type promote a listing and it's going to pre-populate the text here in just a moment. So if you wait a moment, it will pop up with the verbiage. And I don't want to take too long waiting for it to respond. Sometimes it can take a moment or two. But if you click on Smart Assistant and you want to do a custom prompt, kind of like what you can do in
great. Okay, see some chats coming in. Haven't
let's see, I hear some chatter back there. Is there somebody unmuted or is there a question?
worries. Okay. Nope. Yep. We paused, Mickey.
All right, I gotta find a way to mute everybody because
We're back on.
There we go. Mute all. There we go. All right. So under the Use Smart Assistant, what you can do is you can type in what they call a prompt. So let's say that this property that I'm sending to this person has got a kind of a 70s feel to it, and it's got a really beautiful pool in the backyard. So I'm going to say create a funny message that talks about the unique nature of a property that has a retro vibe and a beautiful pool in the backyard. Click craft message, and again, give it a moment. It will populate the body of the email with the verbiage that it's going to create. So again, just depending on the load on the system and technology and your internet and all that, it may take a moment or two for it to pop up. I haven't yet had it not work, so hopefully this won't be the first time it doesn't. But you would still need to plug in a subject line, and that way the person that you're sending it to can recognize it. You have carbon copy, blind carbon copy, and then include signature down here. We talked about how to build your signature in the previous week's session. And then up here, yeah, it's just taking a while. So I'm going to keep moving, but trust me, it does work and it is pretty cool. I'll click it one more time, see if that can push it through, but if not, that's okay. It will work. It's always worked for me, just can take a little bit longer. There we go. There it is. The system needed its coffee. All right, now advanced editor is basically a what you would call a WYSIWYG editor, where you can create content that is more visually appealing. This is similar to the website editor that in a couple other sessions we'll get into how you can build a graphically pleasing email to someone, or edit your website as well. So that's what this looks like. I'm not going to get into the weeds on this, but you can drag and drop and put things in here and then create a visually appealing email. But I think for most communication to a client or a prospect, you can just do use the basic editor here, and then obviously when you're done, click the send button, and then that's going to send the message. So sending a text, kind of a similar thing here. You can use templates in the Smart Assistant. So if you want to send this person's a buyer and it's a follow-up reminder or something along those lines, you can choose pre-populated or pre-made templates for communication to that person. You can add an MLS number. If you have a video, short video that you have saved on your computer, you can upload that. And then the Smart Assistant, similar to what we just saw on the previous screen, you can create some custom prompts, or you can use what is already been set up in the system, and then click send to send that message. So I know we were talking about automated follow-up, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I wanted to show you how you can set up one-to-one type communication as well, that you are in full control of. One thing to be aware of is when you are sending a text message out to a contact, it's going to be using the office's smart number. That's how the system is able to recognize the contact being your contact and not just some random lead that has come in to the platform. So if if that is confusing to you, or you want to have your own smart number, they do sell them. I don't think you need to go buy one, but if you're really going to get into the platform and do a lot of texting and communicating within the platform and lead follow up and yada, 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 it might be advantageous to have your own smart number for your account. Okay. Let's see.
I have a question.
Yes.
If they respond back to that text, does it come to me?
Yes, as long, so the person, so to be clear, when you're texting a contact within the Bold Trail system,
Yeah.
the number that they will see on their phone is going to be the office smart number, and you can identify your office smart
Yeah.
number by clicking on your name up here. Now,
Mhm.
when they respond back, it's going to go to the office smart number, and as long as they're texting back from the number that you have saved in your account within Bold Trail, it's going to connect the dots and see that this is your client contacting you back. Okay. Now,
So
if
will the
they,
text come back to me, like
yeah,
to my
yes,
phone?
yeah, yes. Yes, the any communication that's sent to the smart number, as long as they are correctly loaded into your account, you will see that message. That is why it texts out from the smart number. It's a technology thing. That's just how it
That's
has
how
to work.
Zillow did it also. They just changed recently, but when you text it through the Zillow app, you would still get, you would get that back to your, to your account.
Correct. Yeah, it's working with caller IDs, and that's just how the system has to work in order to make sure that they get linked back to you. The goal of the system is to keep your contacts connected to you. So they've done everything in their power with it that technology allows to make sure that if somebody reaches out to you via the platform, they get connected to you. But again, anybody that tries to connect to you via the platform, if you don't have them loaded into your account as a contact, there's no way for the system to know that they are your contact. So just be aware if you're texting out from the platform that you're texting to people that are in your contact list. Now, I did see a message here from Carmen regarding the email. I'll go back to that. So we went to Smart, send an email, then we click on Advanced Editor. Up here, it's a little sidebar up in the top right-hand corner above the Use Smart Assistant. You slide that over to the right, and then it turns on the Advanced Editor, where you can, do more editing of the email communication. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to look at my notes here, make sure I'm following the path that I had laid out for us. Add note. So this is also a good place to set reminders and things like that, where you can make a note for a contact, like their dog's names are GG, banana, whatever. So you can make notes for that person. You can pin it to the top, things like that. So those are just notes. And then everything is going to be in the timeline down here. So this is what you call the timeline. All the communication, every action that you have performed for that particular contact, a record of it is kept right here in the middle, and it'll go forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, depending on how much communication you've had with that person. So just if you ever need to refer back to your timeline, you can search it like, hey, I sent them a text message, or I sent them this listing back in January. You can search, or you can just scroll down and search the timeline there. And then over here on the right hand side, you've got a lot of different links to different actions. Turn off behavioral alerts. That's something that we're going to be talking about today. If you have a contact that says, God, you're just blasting me with stuff, I really don't want that anymore, can you please stop? Go to the contact, click on the More Actions button, scroll down, and then click Turn Off Behavioral Alerts. And that's what is going to stop the automated, what we call campaigns, from messaging that particular person. Now, you can do a system-wide turn off, but obviously I don't recommend that, because the point of these campaigns are to automate communication, do touch points so that you stay in touch with that prospect, that client, keeping you top of mind, and hopefully they'll give you their business, send you referrals, things like that. So that's the benefit of these automated systems, are to basically take a little bit of the effort off of your plate and automating it, so it's kind of doing it in the background for you. Okay. I texted myself and it states my text response could not be delivered because it's the same number as my agent profile phone number. Yeah, okay, so Alina, you would have to set up a friend, family members, child, somebody like that, because yeah, because you're an agent within the platform and with your own profile, you can't text yourself at that same number. You'd have to have another text friendly number to test it out with. That's a limitation of the system. Okay. But I'm glad you're testing it. That's awesome. You're doing what I said. I don't know if I made that clear before with the phone number. It's got to be a number that works, but it can't be the number that you are using within your profile. I signed up for a Google Voice number. I love it. Use it all the time. I think you can still get them for free. Maybe that's something you can have as a backup phone number for yourself. So it's a virtual phone number, if you will. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. We'll talk about that another time. All right. So setting up alerts for lead behavior. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the dashboard just so we can kind of center ourselves, if you will. And then we're going to go to marketing, which is this little megaphone looking thing down in the bottom left-hand corner. So this is where you're going to see all the items that pertain to marketing. Okay. One thing I want to remind everybody about is one of the automated communications you can have is birthdays and anniversaries. So you can, as long as you've entered in the birthday or the home anniversary for your client within their profile, you can set up the system to send them automated birthday and home anniversary reminders via the birthdays and anniversaries. But you have to have that information entered in to their profile in order for that to happen. And I'm going to move back away from that since we already kind of talked about that last week. But behavioral automation is where we're going to go next. So click Get Started. Now, this is where you can activate certain types of clients or contact statuses, new leads, closed, you can turn them on and off. You can leave them all off for now if you want, and then turn them on as needed. Now, anything that is blue obviously has been turned on. When I'd said previously that you can turn off behavioral automation for everyone, you can do that by sliding this slider off and having all of these deselected as well. So if you just don't want anything automated going from the system, make sure all of these are slid to the left, that they're grayed out. And then if they're blue, that means they're turned on and they're going to start working. Now, these behaviors, you've got some predefined behaviors for leads and contacts that come into the system, whether it be from the company website, your advertising, anything that you're feeding into your account, they would be construed as a lead. So you can turn on these alerts if you choose. Some of you may want them all turned on. Some of you may only want one or two turned on. You have the ability to activate and deactivate those. You can see what the email looks like by clicking preview. You can even edit it if you choose. It doesn't look like you can really do a really fancy email with the advanced editor. They don't give you that option here. If you want to use an existing email template, and I'll show you where you can find those here in a few minutes, you can select those from here. But this is what has been created for you without you having to do anything really. So if you go in here and you make some changes, if you start typing stuff in, make sure you click save. Obviously, I'm not going to save those edits, so I'm going to click cancel. But in your case, if you're wanting to add something new in there or change any of the content, you're going to want to make sure you save that information. So yes, I do want to exit out. Within the preview option, again, this is what the text message would look like. And then you can click edit to change it. And then if you want to use an existing text template, again, I'll show you where to find those here in a minute. You can use that and then click save. So if you're going to utilize these behaviors, these preloaded behaviors, I would encourage you to preview them just so you know what's being sent out. Maybe you don't like the verbiage that they've preloaded the system with. That's fine. We're talking about marketing. Marketing is everybody has a different opinion of what looks good, right? I'm not saying one is bad, one is good, one is terrible. It's just you know, everybody wants to have something that represents them in the way they want to be represented. And you have the ability to go in and kind of customize those items for yourself, should you choose to do so. Now, all of this information has been loaded by the development team at Bold Trail based off of I think the system has been in existence for about 10, 13 years, somewhere right in there. So based off of user feedback, they have put this information into the platform for you. So it isn't just some programmer in the back said, oh, this sounds good, I'm going to put this in. No, they've actually, you know, had surveys and feedback from users like yourself saying, you know, I think this verbiage would be a lot better received by the lead or the prospect or the contact, and they've made those changes. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is you probably don't have to do much to make this thing look and work the way you want it to, but you have that option to edit it and change it a little bit if you want to. Okay. Let's see. We're going to leverage saved searches here. All right. So me personally, I'm not a fan of the MLS portals. They're very just they don't look good. There's no branding. They're gray, they're dark. Like, I mean, yeah, the photos look good, but they're just very I think Spartan is the word that I've heard in the past, where it's just, you know, it's very nuts and bolts. There's really nothing else in there that looks good. The information's there, but again, if you're trying to brand yourself and elevate yourself from the crowd, utilizing a system that, you know, shows the Remax brand, presents you in kind of a more just a better light, you know, it shows that you actually understand marketing, things like that. You can utilize the search feature within the Bold Trail system to communicate listing updates and things like that for your prospects. So let's see, here's where we're going to go. We're going to go to contacts. And then I'm going to go to this, let's see, I want to make sure I'm going to the right one here. Yeah, we'll keep messing with my dummy profile here. So what I can do here is I can set up search alerts. I'm going to click add. And then I give the search alert a title. So I might call this like a zip code or an area. We'll call this Desert Ridge. That's a big community not too far from where I live. And so that's what I'm going to name the search alert. That's how I'm going to recognize this alert. Now I can let it just pre-populate as a subject line for me, or if I want to have a specific subject line like new Desert Ridge listings, I can do that. I can have it sent ASAP, daily, twice weekly, twice a month, monthly. So let's just say I want to do this once weekly. And then if that person I'm sending it to has a spouse or someone else you want to receive the message as well, you put in their email information there. And then this is where you define an area. You can draw it on a map. So here's a map, and Desert Ridge is kind of right over here. So I'm going to drag the map, and then I can, you got to, here, let's see, draw area, then click once, and then draw your box around the area. And you can add additional areas as well, but you have to click the draw area button in order for that to happen. So, oh, looks like you can only have 2 areas. That is something I just learned today. So now I can clear it if I want, or I can clear this. There we go, close that. And if I just wanted to type in an area like Desert Ridge, it's going to populate with an area, neighborhood, neighborhood, neighborhood. You've got a lot of different sections or subdivisions that you can plug in. Desert Ridge really is an area here. So I'll click on Desert Ridge. And then what kind of listings do I want? Well, I want single family for this one. I can add in condos as well. Price range 600 to 900. 2 beds, 2 baths, square footage, we'll say 2,000 square, actually it's a nice area. So probably 1200 up to whatever, yada, yada, yada. And then I select just listed, because if I go up here, that's what I want these listings to be, or just listed listings. And then I can click on some other things here. Add keywords. I'd be careful of that, because that's going to really trim down the amount of results that somebody's going to have. So I would be really careful about all the stuff you're clicking off on. Now, granted, this is not as in-depth as an MLS search that you could set up within your MLS. So I understand there are some differences and maybe some pros and cons. That's really up to you to decide if you want to utilize these or not. But you can click save and send, or if you just want to set the alert, it's going to come over here, and now it's in this contacts timeline for searches. Now, if they say, I don't need these anymore, let's turn them off. You can either delete it, you can turn it off by clicking the slider, or you can go in and edit the search as well. So maybe you missed the mark, or they changed their parameters, you can go in and change it. And you can add up to 5 search alerts per contact. So you can add 4 more to this search list that we've already created. But if you need more than that, you would need this. You would have to set up like I don't know how, the best way to do that. Maybe set up a secondary contact, but I would hope you wouldn't run into an issue where you have to have more than 5 searches set up for a contact for your sanity, if nothing else. So Carmen says you may miss some listings if an agent doesn't enter certain criteria in the MLS. Absolutely. And you can't control that, right? So that's why I selected the area, because that is kind of all encompassing. In Arizona, our subdivision, somebody might put in Desert Ridge, Plat 2, Section 8, Township 12. And if you don't select that exact parameter, it wouldn't pull up in the search. So I always say go broad. Areas are generally the better options if you have that option from the list that you see pop down. But just, yes, you're going to run the risk of maybe missing a listing in there. And again, this is why you might want to set yourself up as a test contact, set those alert for yourself, send it to yourself, and see what comes through. That way you can make sure that the information that's being sent is the correct information. But the nice thing about this is when the alert and the message gets sent to the contact, it's got your name, your phone number, your email address, the RE/MAX logo. It's a professional, visually stunning email that gets sent to that prospect, as opposed to some black and white email with a link on it saying, here's some listings, click here. I mean, it makes me, I want to vomit just thinking about it. So again, we're professionals. We have our membership fees pay for a system like this for us to use and elevate ourselves above the other agents in our area and in our industry. I think it's worth taking a minute to test it out and try using it, because I think it's fantastic. All right, so let's see. I'm going to turn this back on. Let's see, 0 results. Let me go back here. I'll see if I can change my parameters here to, let's do 400 to 1 million. And let's see, just listed. We don't have much waterfront property in Arizona. All right, so save and view results. Gosh, there just may not be anything in the area that's just listed. So, but what you can do is you can click text recent results, and you can actually text that link to those results to that contact, clicking these text recent results button right here. So I've obviously gone too quick and created a search that doesn't have any results. So that's on me. I don't think that's on the system. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off for myself. But again, testing this out for yourself, I think, will be beneficial. Now, going back to the timeline up here in the top left-hand corner. So that gets us back to the client's page, if you will. Now here I can set up, I'm going to get rid of this because I was testing it out the other day. I want to create a market report. So this is basically something you can utilize to show a prospect what's going on in their neighborhood or the neighborhood that they are looking in. So it's almost like I wouldn't call it a valuation tool. There's another way to generate that type of report for a contact, but a market report would be a way to send what is happening in a community or an area automatically to that contact. So let's say, let's do Powder Horn. This is a community not far from me, so I'm going to click Powderhorn Ranch, and then I can set this report to be sent 7, 14, 21, or 28 days. So that's how many, that's the duration in between each report that is going to be automatically sent to this contact. So it's a way for you to keep yourself in front of the person, kind of let them know what's going on in the neighborhood if they're thinking about selling or buying. And it'll just basically give them links to the listings that are going under contract, sold, and newly listed in that community. You can also click send now to just fire it out right away. And you can set up 3 market reports per contact. You cannot put any more than that into a single contact. So you can set up 5 search alerts up here, and you can set up 3 market reports. And that's it. That's the limit as of right now. Now, the listing valuation tool, to be honest, is very similar to the market report. So me personally, I lean towards the market report, but if you want to have something that is a little bit more detailed per se and kind of provides a range of what the properties are in a specific area, you can create that for, oops. Oh, sorry, you got to do an address. So let's do 12670 North 88th Place. Sorry, you have to do it for a specific property. I typed in an area. So I click save, and now this person will now get a listing valuation report based off of MLS and public record, similar to a Zillow's estimate. People have asked me, can you manipulate that report? No, it's automatically generated. And that's kind of why I say the market report is maybe a little bit better, so you're not setting unrealistic expectations either on the low side or the high side of a property that maybe you know has some special features or it's in dire need of repair. You don't want to be pushing out information to somebody, making them think that their house is worth X when it's really Y. So just be careful with how you utilize this listing valuation tool. Okay.
Taylor, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the market report, when you send out, is there any way to customize like a message like that, the report that goes out, or no?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
I mean, a way you could kind of fake the system out, and I don't know if I necessarily recommend this, but I like to provide you with at least an answer, is if you go into your profile and you change your signature, you can change your signature, send the message, and then change your signature back to, you know, whatever your default is. It's a workaround. I'm not saying it's great, but it is something that you could do to fake the system out, but it would
Okay.
take some effort on your part in order to do it.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Again, the system's meant to be just very easy for you to use and work kind of behind the scenes, so you're not having to do a lot of extra work like personalizing messages, you know, editing listings, you know, adjusting valuations. It just fires it out because, I mean, first off, time is the most valuable commodity we have, and spending it doing little things like that may not be your best, highest use of time. Now, I didn't see who was speaking, but if you wanted to, you could actually send that report to yourself and then forward it to the contact with a personalized message, but that would be happening from within your email account. You know, whoever you utilize for your email service, it would be sent from your there, not from within the system. So that's another way you could kind of personalize the message, say, hey, here's a new market report. You're going to start receiving these every 7 or 14 or 21 days. If you have questions about them, please follow up with me and let me know. And, you know, blah, 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 blah. So you could do it that way too. You could forward it to yourself and then set them up for the same search and start sending them out that way. So,
Got it.
but
Thank you.
to do a personalized message on each one, I think you're going to find it's kind of cumbersome. to do. But there, as I said, there are some ways to kind of work around that. All right, so let's see, where am I going to go next? I got my notes over here on my second screen. Yeah, all right. Overview of the pre-built smart campaign. So that's where we're going to spend the rest of our session today, is talking about the smart campaigns, and probably the most powerful component of the Bold Trail system. So there's two ways to activate campaigns. You can do them one at a time per contact. So while I'm on this screen, I'm just going to click on my name, and then I can go in and set up a campaign for this particular contact. So I can click add, and then it's going to give me the options of the campaigns that I have under my account, and I can just assign that campaign to, to that contact right off the screen there. And that's just a one-to-one thing. I'm only activating it for this particular person and nobody else. So there is a way to assign a campaign to everybody in your database. You can activate it for specific people, and that's where I'm going to get to next. But I figured while I was on this screen here, I would show you how to create or set a campaign for a particular contact. And then if you want to delete it, you just click on the little pencil icon. Anything with a pencil next to it means you should be able to edit it, change it, remove it. You can restart it, pause it, things like that. But in this case, I'm just going to remove these. And then if I want to add more in, I can add more. And I don't believe there's a limit to the number of campaigns you can set up for someone. Obviously, you want to be a little bit careful about that, because you don't want them to start receiving 15 messages every couple of hours or a couple of days. So just be careful with the campaigns that you're activating for your contacts. So over here on the left-hand side, we're going to go to marketing. And then we're going to go to smart campaigns. Now, depending on your screen size and things, the smart campaigns and these buttons might be slightly rearranged. They move around as you zoom in and zoom out. So just, if you don't see the item exactly where you see it on my screen, don't panic. Just move around a little bit. You'll probably find it. So manage campaigns. Here, I'm going to go to my name. So because I'm a manager, I've got some extra stuff that pops up for me. So I'm trying to suppress that so it doesn't cause any confusion. So under system library, these are all of the campaigns that have been preloaded into the system for you and everybody else within Remax to use. Now, again, these have been generated based off of real agent feedback over the years. So again, they shouldn't need a lot of tweaking and manipulation, but understanding everybody has a different way and frequency that they want to keep in touch with their clients and their prospects, you may want to personalize, tone down, tone up the communication. So let's say we want to manipulate a campaign for buyers only. So I'm going to type buyer, and then it's going to give me all of the buyer related campaigns that are available. Now, I want to look at the screen here. Campaign description. So this is going to tell you just kind of basically what that campaign is, when it is supposed to start. So this one is for a new lead, but maybe you want a buyer campaign for existing clients. Okay, so you can see when these start and who is designed for. Channels, these are the different ways or touch points within the campaign. So this one is going to be all task reminders for yourself, but this one up here is going to be tasks, reminders to connect. It's actually going to text them and email them. So this one is very high touch. These are just essentially reminders, high touch, minimal touch, no touch. You get the gist here. Now, what do these things look like? Okay, let's just go to default active buyer. Let's click on this and just see what it looks like. So this campaign has multiple touch points and they go 196 days out. Now, these are all task reminders. So on your dashboard, and if you have the app installed on your phone, you're going to get notifications on these days that you need to perform this function. Okay, so this says day 7, it's a task, weekly check-in. What does this look like? So I'm going to click view, and it's going to give you whatever the details are of that reminder. So all of these are weekly check-ins, so they're all going to look the same, right? That's fine. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do I'm going to click on something that's got a little bit more high touch to it. So default new lead buyer, this campaign. Now, here is where the system's going to like send text messages. It's going to send an email. So let's click on this one. We'll click view, and then it's going to show you what that email message is going to look like. Okay. Now, as you can see here, there's no way to edit this campaign, but you're like, okay, cool. There's some good stuff in here. You know, maybe there's a little too much, and I want to, you know, remove some things or add in some personal touches, but I think I can work with this campaign. Great. All right, let's move forward. So go to the top of the screen, click clone campaign. Scope, this should just automatically pop up with your name, but if it doesn't, make sure your name is up there. Hashtag. So this is going to occur when you define it or tell it to. So when a lead is new, so if a lead comes in from your website or whatever, you can have it start then, or when a hashtag is assigned to a prospect as well. So when I was talking about how you could assign these to a group of contacts, we had talked last week about how you can assign hashtags to a contact to segment groups. So if you have like a buyer in an area code, you could have a hashtag buyer area code 123456, okay, or 12345, and then you can assign that hashtag to all those contacts in your list, and then you can say, okay, when the hashtag is buyer 123456 or 5, sorry, I had zip codes are 5 digits, I believe. You can hit enter. Whoops. Oh, you don't put the hashtag in. That was my mistake. You just put in that and then click that. So now anytime I have a hashtag assigned to a contact that is buyer 12345, that's what's going to activate this campaign. Now I can do advanced triggers. I don't know if you really need to get into this. I like the hashtag option. That just keeps it simple. But if you really want to manipulate and specify when something gets sent out, you can add some other triggers as well. If you don't want to start a trigger and you just want to assign this one, like we were doing before with that one contact where you add that campaign manually to that specific contact, that's when you would select, I don't want to start trigger. Okay. So I'm going to put this buyer 12345, press enter. Okay. Now, do I want it to always run? Yes. Do I want it locked so I can't mess it up and change it? No, I like to keep that as no, but you might want to click yes and have it locked up. So I'm going to click next. This campaign that we selected was specifically for a buyer, so I'm going to keep it buyer, but you can change it if you choose. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to put test in front of it so I can easily identify it. Then if I want to give it a personal description, I can change that as well, and then scroll down and click next. And then that's basically a summary. Okay, yeah, that looks great. Click finish. And that's what's going to create that campaign. Now, here is where you can start editing the items. All right, so let's say I don't want the system to ever text message a contact. I can just remove them. Okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to click remove here, and you get the point. I'm not going to go in and do all of them because I know you understand what's going on here. Let's say this email, I want to edit the email. I can go in here and change the email around if I choose. I can change the subject line, things like that. You can create a new template if you want, and then just make sure you save the changes. Pretty much anywhere where you're going to be, if you're given the opportunity to change, manipulate the content, it's always going to ask you, or there's going to be a save button somewhere to make sure you save that information. And then if you want to add in an action, like on day 10, you want to be reminded to do something, we can call this a 10-day reminder check-in. Content, this is just a reminder to make contact. And then when do I want this to go out? Okay, then 10 days. And then everything looks good there. So I'm going to click save. whoops, gotta give it a name. We'll call this a 10-day reminder. All right, now I can click save, and it's going to save as a template, but it's also going to load it into the system here for as well. Let's see, Carmen, I created one for people that came to a particular open house and used a hashtag for that group. Perfect. Yep, exactly. And we cover that in the open house app discussion that we'll be getting to, I think, in week 5 or 6. So anyhow, so let's see, day 10. So here is the 10-day reminder check-in that I just created. And if I say, oops, didn't want it, don't like it, take it out, click remove, it's okay. Nothing is permanent when you're working on this screen here. So the last thing is when you're done, activate the campaign to make sure that it is available within your account. That's kind of like the final, yes, I'm ready to go. All right, now, if for some reason you don't want this anymore, you can remove it. You can create another clone and keep cloning and manipulating and changing if you choose to do so. And you can change the name and do some other stuff. The share campaign option is a way, if you have a friend in the office that is like, oh, that is such a cool campaign, how did you do that? You can actually click share, and then over here on the left, they're going to get a token that they can enter into the system that will basically copy that campaign to their account. So that is probably more advanced than we need to get into, and how to do that we'll talk about another time, but just know that that does exist, and you can unshare it if you all of a sudden don't want that available to someone else. You can just unshare it and you're good to go. So I'm going to turn that off, and I'm actually just going to click remove. You know what, I'll leave it in there. I'll leave it in there. So now I can see it under my campaign. So I can go to test, and there it is. So I had changed the name of it, remember, to test campaign for new buyer leads, and I turned it off, but I can turn it on if I choose, and there it is. Now, while I'm in here, we were talking about those email templates and text templates from those screens where you could have a pre-populated message. That's where these are all located. So if you happen to see a text template that you wanted to change, so let's say text message buyer, and you can find the name of a text template. You have to clone it. You have to clone something in order to change it. So let's say I want to change the name of this to something else, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Okay, and then I can click clone template, and now that template that I just created is going to be in here. And then if I want to edit it again, or if I want to delete it, I can delete it here. And you know, you can make more changes. You can create your own, you can add your own up here. Click add template. What do you want? An email, a text, a task, a reminder. Webhook is an API service. I don't get into that. That's, you know, like way advanced. I haven't come across anybody that has really needed to or tried leveraging that. I'm not saying you shouldn't or that you won't, but it's just not something that I'm going to spend time in here today, because it really doesn't touch many agents. So again, these campaigns, when you have one in here that you like, the way to activate it is to click on the slider over on the side. And then again, if you want to look at what it says, you can click on it and then make the changes, do whatever you want to with it. You can remove it, you can turn it on, things like that, unshare it. You can make those changes once the campaign is under your campaigns. But the system library is the pre-formed content that has been created for you. You have to add it to your library manually. You have to click on it, or you have to create a copy of it, and that will send it to your campaigns. And that's when you will then see the campaigns pop up underneath the contact over here. So let's go back to me. And then we looked at this already, but just so you're aware, go to active campaigns, click add, whoops, system was kind of lagging. So let me click cancel, go back to timeline. And then scroll down, click active campaigns, and then I can select the campaign that I want for that person. Okay. Let's see, where else do we want to go from here? I think we are in pretty good shape here. Again, I love the search alerts. I love the market reports. I've set them up for myself so I can see what's going on in my neighborhoods or my parents' neighborhood or something like that. So again, get in and play around with the system. We've got about 5 minutes left. So I'm gonna take a breath, take a sip of my coffee, keep me caffeinated. And for next week, for those of you that are still online and paying attention, next week on Tuesday, what day is that? That's going to be the 11th at 8 a.m. Arizona time and 10 a.m. on the East Coast. We're going to be talking about marketing and lead generation. So we're going to get into utilizing the Remax or the Bold Trail social and doing some work within the social media components of the system, how to create some email campaigns, newsletters, get into some personalization for your website. So if you're into internet marketing, next week will be a session you definitely want to check out. So I'm going to go back to the chat log here. I don't see anything new, but I just want to take this link and post it again. Probably by the end of the day today, the video for today's recording should be available via this link that I just put in the chat log. And that way you have it accessible to you 24/7. So if you're like, oh gosh, how did he edit that campaign, or where did he go to set up that market report, you can go back to the video and check it out. And then last but not least, I'll always talk about how incredible the support system is behind the Bold Trail system. Honestly, the onboarding and the support behind it is second to none. And I truly mean that from somebody that has done a lot of tech trainings over the last, 20 something years I've been in the industry. I would say this is one of, if not the best system I've encountered. So down here in the bottom right-hand corner is where you can click to communicate with the staff at Remax who are supporting the Bold Trail system. Just type in your subject and you can actually have a live conversation with a person regarding whatever the question or the challenge is. Over here, if you click on more, you'll get the training and learning path. So this is kind of at your own speed training on certain parts of the platform that you may have an interest in. So you've got different tasks and tracks, that you can follow to learn more about the platform. So if you wanted open house training, they've got tutorials and different things that you can utilize to learn more about the open house features within the system. And then going back here, support resources. This is where you can get actual help on here. I mean, if I type in campaigns, click that, you're going to see all of the different support articles pertaining to campaigns. We talked about webhooks. So if you want to use webhooks, you can learn more by going there. So yeah, just a lot of ways to get help on the platform because we're all working at crazy hours and different days, and sometimes a live representative is just not going to be available because you're working at midnight on a Tuesday for whatever reason. The live support I think is like 8 to 8, so it's pretty available, but yeah, unfortunately there are times where they're just not going to be available. So you can utilize the support resources here. And then last but not least is a training calendar. So if you want more training on certain subjects and you don't want to wait until week 6 of my platform or my schedule, you can click on the time zone you're in and identify when there's training going on. And this is being provided to all of the subscribers to the Bold Trail platform, both in Remax and in other other people that are signed up for the service as well. So as you can see, there's no shortage of live webinars that you can attend to get further education on the platform. So we're coming up on the top of the hour. Has anybody got any other questions or comments or thoughts? I'd love to hear from you. And if not, that's fine.
Hey,
I'll hang
Tyler?
online for a few minutes. Yeah, go ahead,
Tyler,
please.
this is Fran from Franklin Lakes in Rockaway. I'm the manager, and I have a question. I had to get off, and I'm hoping that maybe if you covered it, I apologize. But I have a new listing, and I got the email that the assets are available. Now, normally I would go into the KV Core tile, and underneath it would say kit assets, but I'm not seeing that now. Did they move it?
I think that's all going to be under Design Center. So you go to marketing and then you go
Okay.
to Design Center, get started, and that's where you're going to find all the assets for your listings. And then you're
Okay.
also going to be able to create assets as well. So over here you can
But-
click on My Listings,
Okay.
and then you should be able to create assets. See, I don't carry listings, so I'm not a good test subject for demonstration purposes. I've got this old home that I sold for a family member, so it's still showing up in my account. But if you've got active listings, they should all show up right here, and then you can
Okay.
click create assets and go from there. All right.
So do you have to create the assets, or they used to prepare them and you could swap out the photos?
Yes, so again, I'm not a great test subject, but you
Okay.
see on my screen where it says view assets.
Yes.
You can
Okay.
click on that, and that's going to bring up what has already been created for you. And
Okay,
then
great.
you can go in and edit the designs. So this is
Thank
what we're
you.
going to get into. You're very welcome. This is what we're going to get into, I believe, next week or in one of the other sessions. I didn't get into the Design Center today. It was really campaigns and automated messaging. So you didn't miss that is what I'm trying to say. All right. Thank you, everybody. That's dropping some notes in the chat log. I appreciate it. It was a lot to cover, and I've told everybody this. The bull trail is a big, hairy animal, man. There is a lot to this system, and if you try to absorb it all at once, if you try to put everything all together all at once, you're gonna drown. I mean, I can't do it. If you can, kudos, awesome. I'm glad you can, but I mean, find a section of this that you're like, that I can take about a half an hour and focus on and see if I can get it to work for me. Break it into chunks, because if you try to do too much, you're going to get paralysis from overanalysis, I think is maybe a way to put it. So dip your toe into it. Reach out to me, reach out to the support staff if you have questions, problems. The system is being updated and they're making changes and trying to make it better. And it is technology. Sometimes it just fails. I mean, we had an issue in the previous week's session where the site, we couldn't access it. Like I was flying blind. I mean, these things just they happen. They try to keep it from happening. But what I'm trying to say is, if something isn't working, either go back to it a little bit later in the day or send them the message from the support link here, because sometimes it might just be your account that's not working right. And if you don't tell them that it's not working, it's never going to get fixed, and you're going to lose out on the value of the system. So take a minute. Don't get frustrated. It's easy to get frustrated with these things, especially when you got phone ringing, dogs barking, appointments to keep, and you're running late on an open house, whatever. Just set a reminder for yourself. Okay, gotta tell them that my listing isn't showing up, or I didn't get my assets, or the report isn't going out. That way they can fix it and make it work for you. Okay. Set reminders. I can't work without setting reminders. If I don't set reminders, I would be tripping over myself. So don't be afraid to do that. And yeah, come back and just play with the system. Like I said, set yourself up as a contact, or you're a family member, and have fun with it. I mean, don't be afraid of it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, Gail, yeah, there's a ton to absorb here. They do like 2-hour trainings on campaigns. So I tried to really focus on what I thought was most important, but yeah, you can really get into some details and kind of get lost in here. So but hopefully what I've provided to you gives you enough to go on so you can start utilizing and enjoying the benefits of the platform. So any other questions? I'm looking, I'm available, I'm not running out of here. Whether it's regarding what we've covered or something that you've seen or have a question about, or if there's some other Remax technology out there that you're wondering about, I can maybe answer those questions as well. So fire away. I'll hang online for a couple more minutes if nobody responds. And you can just unmute yourself at this point. We've only got a handful of people left on. All right. Looks like we're good to go. All right, everybody. Well, I hope to see you. For those of you on the path to platinum tomorrow, we're going to be kind of talking about campaigns and some other stuff tomorrow in the path to platinum session. That's at 10 o'clock Mountain Time and noon East Coast time. So I hope to see some of you, or if not all of you, then. And then next week on Tuesday, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. East Coast time, we're going to be going over marketing, social, and some other aspects of the digital marketing that is available within the Bold Trail platform. So again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I hope to hear from you soon. And if nothing else, share your success stories with me. I'd love to hear about them. So hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care, everybody.